It makes a little bit of noise, but then no, it will be fine. Very good. A very, very warm welcome to you all. And I'm kind of curious, who of you came because of my mail out? Nobody.
That's because you're advertising your retreat.
That's right.
They probably didn't see it.
It's actually, I wrote it before the retreat. But that's good, then you saw at least that we're going to have a weekend retreat soon.
When is that?
There's a flyer there, 24 to 26. No? So a warm welcome to the friends from overseas, whoever is joining on Facebook Live, which is a beautiful addition. And for us here, you know, as we go in and as we find that spaciousness within, you will feel maybe that the room is much fuller than just with a few friends here. There's about between 400 and 600 people joining from Korea, from China, China not from, because China cannot have Facebook, but from Japan, from Sweden, from Germany, from Brazil, from America. So it's a worldwide small sangha. So we're creating a net of love and light. The more you remember yourself as love and light, the more that vibrational field connects with whoever remembers himself. And who is for the first time here? Courageous. Courageous, thank you for stepping in. Yay, come in. Satsang is kind of like a remembering, you know? And what is really important is the remembering is not what we remember as a memory story. You know? Many of you are old meditators and you've heard the words before and you heard everything before. And I've been, you know, when I was in Pune for 10 years listening to Osho morning and evening, and he always said the same thing, pointing towards who we are truly. And the mind says, yeah. And something just got forgotten the moment we left Buddha Hall. And he pointed that out too. It's like when you leave from here, you start identifying again with something that comes and goes. We identify with our body, with our personality, with our trips, with our story. And some of us have preference for a good story, some of us have a preference for a traumatic story. And it's very alluring for the human being to define ourselves through the story. Until one day, perhaps in a lucky moment, we realize, well, every kind of story or identity that we didn't have before, that comes in, also goes. You know? We were children, we were identified with childhood, we were coming to puberty, and so on. All these ideas of who we are kept changing, and yet there was one thing that never changed, and that is not a thing. That is what we call I, the I am. And so it's helpful for the mind also to understand that who we think we are is not who we are, which is very relaxing, especially when you have a more traumatic story. And we all have, childhood stories or parent stories or body stories or emotional stories or psychological stories. And many of us, including me when I'm not aware, we are trying to fix ourselves within the story. And we all know that doesn't work. Can you relate to that?
Definitely.
Yeah. And we try, no? And we forget so quickly. I mean, I needed to sit 10 years at the feet of the Master, and he was radiating that immense, infinite spaciousness. And of course, then the humanness in us projects it on the Master, projects it on. He knows who he is. I don't know. And all he was doing is reminding us, of course you know. You're just looking in the wrong place. The moment we look out, seeking ourselves, how can we find ourselves? We see other people's story, and then we try to compare, or we judge, or we feel attracted, but it's always outside. And then we get really afraid if somebody lives a different life that looks alluring, then we feel either unworthy, that we cannot live like that, or we feel competitive, or we feel all this stuff that keeps the little me separate from other little me's. Is anybody doing that? Or am I alone in that? Yeah? And that's called a power trip. No? Comparison, competition, judgment, blame, inferiority, superiority. Can you relate to that in your life?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, it's ongoing. And it's so addictive. No? And it's very, very supported by the media. No? Like you listen to the media and immediately you have a strong judgment. No? How can this happen? And then you think not looking at the media is a remedy. That's not a remedy. It is just resisting a part of the story within your own story. And then if you live in Malembimbi or nearby Mayokum, no, we have a certain Malembimbi identity. No? You just go to the farmer's market, you know. It's a specific clothes, and yeah, if possible barefoot. It's freezing cold and it's wet. I was in the market this morning. No? But a real Malem person walks barefoot. Please don't feel offended, I'm part of Malem. Yeah. And that search for identity, it is, I mean, it's been forever, no? The strongest is during puberty. I don't know, we're a little bit aged now, but do you remember your puberty? You know, and you try so hard to be somebody, no? And not just anybody, but somebody special. And then we keep trying to be somebody special. And everybody's trying to be somebody special. See me. Can you see me? And then we do everything. We sit on a couch dressed in white, becoming a teacher. Anything. See me. Yeah? And the beauty is the moment we see the wonderful drama in India, it's called Leela, this beautiful game of life. Then something begins to wake up that is not part of the game. It holds the game. And the more that wakes up in us, the more our attention hopefully moves to that infinite space that is aware of all games. And I have really good news for all of us. We don't need to change the game. We don't need to improve the game. We don't need to judge the game. We don't need to resist the game. We just see it. We just see it like we go to the movies. This is a three-dimensional movie. It includes smelling, tasting, feeling, hearing, touching. And then life is so rich, isn't it? It's so rich. It's such a moment-to-moment surprise, isn't it? And then our little me tries to create what we believe is safety. So we want to be safe. Does anybody want to be safe? Yeah? Now, you have enough years lived to see that life is absolutely unsafe. Yeah? And then it gets a little bit clearer when friends that were very close to you and that were very healthy then maybe suddenly die. How come? An accident, a lightning stroke, a sickness. And then suddenly it's very unsafe. Now look at COVID-19, how everybody wants to be safe. And that, forgive me, whoever is sick, I really am very compassionate, and it's not fun to die with that in a way that you cannot breathe. But is that what all the governments do? Is that keeping us safe? We're just more freaked out. It leads to more fear. It leads to more suicide. I don't know if it's true, but somewhere I heard that in Australia since COVID-19, more than 1,000 people committed suicide because they cannot handle the lockdown. Now, is that a healing thing? No. And it's this collective wave of fear that we tend to make a sense of self from. And I'm not saying that the government does anything wrong. It's like the best knowledge of things. But it's completely absurd what's happening. No? Because we had pandemics since humanity is alive. This is why we are here, because we have a good immune system that survived all this. So I don't want to talk too much about this because otherwise I get killed. But if you there's some really beautiful talks like Zach, what's his name? Zach
Brown,
yeah.
Zach Bush.
I mean, he's such a clear scientist. He lays it out on the table, and you can really see that the government doesn't listen to real science. No? But everybody does the best we can, and we also do the best we can. No? And I feel incredibly grateful. Aren't we incredibly privileged? Imagine you live in a tower in Melbourne right now, in one of these towers. That is horrible. And look at us here. We can sit here and explore the truth. I mean, have we earned it? It's a gift. It's a wonderful offering of existence. How did we get there? Well, especially for the new friends, I mean, why we are here, or why I am here, we're here. That's, at least from my point of view, the possibility. It's like Satsang is just a reminder that whatever we thought we are brought us focusing on the object. What is the object? My body is the object, my story is the object, my senses are objects. Everything we can perceive is an object, and we completely forget that we are the perceiver. Is that difficult to understand? Probably not. No? I am the perceiver. Now, is the perceiver, is that which is aware of listening to Rahasya? You all, most of you hopefully listen. No? Is that which is aware of listening, is that an object? No. Now that cancels a huge thing. If I'm not an object, what am I? To give it a word, which is only a word pointing, is then I must be space. I must be something that the mind cannot grasp, because I am aware of the mind. Is anybody aware of your thoughts? Even if there are 10,000 thoughts a minute, we're still aware. My mind. You say my mind. So there's the my and the mind. And the my points towards the real I. And nobody ever has seen the real I, because it's invisible space in which everything appears and disappears. Is that difficult to understand? No. It's so obvious. You don't need to sit 10 years in a Himalayan cave to realize that I am nobody. Yeah? Let that in for a moment. And your ego will say, come on, what is he saying? Of course I am somebody. Yeah, you have a body, but you are not your body. You are that which is aware of the body. Always. You are not a problem. You are that which is aware of a problem. And then it gets really interesting, because in our human nature, since our mind can only relate to things that we can label, that which is unlabelable has many names. In China it's called the Tao. In Muslim country it's called Allah. In Christianity it's called God. Now it's very, very tricky, because God gets externalized as some force outside of us. Has anybody ever seen God? No, because he's as invisible as the me. It is the same. We are divine. Take a breath. This is big. People look for God and look for the divinity in everything, and here we sit. The divine in form. Am I losing you, or are you still with me here? It's so obvious. And you don't have to be a better person. You don't have to kind of follow all the shoulds that our parents have given us, because everything that we are is held in who we truly are. Now, I don't know if it's still needed. I mean, I needed probably 25 or 30 years trying to better myself through meditation, through therapy, through traveling to India all the time, through spending a fortune. I could have many more houses than these here if I would take all that money that I use to find myself. Right? And I've been always here. So where have I been looking? Yeah? Maybe I've been looking. Prem does. Maybe he is a good example. No? He has something that we don't have. Really? It's the same. It's one eye, one space. And then to give it other names, we call it existence, we call it consciousness, we call it awareness. We make fine distinctions between consciousness and awareness. And it's all one. And eventually, finally, hopefully, we call it love. This is why we all seek love. And of course, the love that we seek is not the real love. It's codependency, it's relationship, it's power struggles. It is conditional. I love you if you follow my expectations. Is it just me, or are you also looking for love? Is anybody looking for love? Yeah.
Just you.
It's just me. Okay, then I can actually learn from you guys. If you don't look for love anymore, then so what are we looking for? Does anybody ever has seen love, touched love, smelled love, tasted love? Yes, we have experienced it through lovemaking. I'm all for lovemaking, by the way. But it is an attempt to touch the untouchable, to be what we already are. Did anybody of you ever heard anybody say that who we are is love?
I've heard you say it.
You heard me say it.
I've heard people say it.
Yeah.
You're not Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah. No? Well, it's true. But the thing is, if we admit that it's true that I am love, and when I look into your eyes, I see myself. I see love. It's freaky because then our whole search is finished. Everything we ever tried, we seek for love by being successful, by being rich, by driving a fancy car or a Tesla. Or we seek love by being a total failure. Look at me, I'm so poor, I don't get my life together at all. I'm a total mess. Give me love. That's the same thing. We seek something that is not a thing. we seek what we already are. And if we really let this in, the whole structure crumbles. All arguments fall flat. No? Can you argue with that? I mean, I don't know. And when everything that we thought we are crumbles, then we really meet. Then it's not even a meeting, we're merging in that same space that just takes different forms. Wonderful forms, wonderful uniquenesses, wonderful presences. And I may look quite wise when I listen to myself. I say, wow, this is great what you're saying. But I'm in the same boat. I'm exactly the same. I tend to forget exactly what I'm trying to share with you and get identified with all sorts of nonsense. And then it's beautiful, because then when I wake up again, I can have a laugh. You have that? I mean, so many of you had glimpses of the truth, no?
How many laughs do you have a day?
It depends on the moon cycle. The last full moon was terrible. I don't know, was it terrible for you guys? There was so much conflict everywhere. Everywhere I looked around, it must have been in this little me. Everybody was fighting.
Isn't the waking up also a story?
Yes, of course it's a story. But we don't. The good thing is we don't need to deny anything of our human experience. You don't need to deny your story. You pay for the story. You go to cinema to pay for a story that you can get identified with the hero, and you go through all the emotions of the hero. And when it's a sad love story, I cry when I see a sad movie. Even though I know nothing ever has happened. I was been sitting in that chair and there was light and shadow on the screen and nothing happened. But oh God, it's so touching. And finally she opened up to him. Oh. Yeah, is that a relief? We go with these waves of emotion. It's so nice. And you can only wake up if you fall asleep. That's why I recommend fall asleep again and then wake up again.
If it was up to you, it'd be easy.
No, it's all happening. It's all happening. So that was a long talk. I think we should sit a little bit. So now when we sit, you will probably, whatever you heard or your own thoughts will continue. And the beauty of silent sitting is there is no technique. You cannot get a star by being a good meditator. You will not get punished if your mind is loud. You let everything be as it is. You just sit there and let everything be as it is. And you will find things constantly change. But the magic of silent sitting is when you don't act or react, at least not through your physical body. If you let your body be still, you gently, naturally melt. And some of you, sometimes you may discover, hope, now I'm gone. And yet, you're still here. So what is here and what is gone. And then meditation, just allowing things the way they are, can become incredibly opening, because you don't park in any experience, in any feeling, in any emotion, in any sensation, in any body sensation. Everything comes and goes. And there comes a moment perhaps where, and that is something we can remember. I remember John de Ruyter said that many years ago. I heard him say that, and that really landed in me. When somebody told her story, it was a very deep story, and he just said, now, do not park in the feeling and in the emotion. Park in the knowing of it. I would call it park in the space in which all experiences come and go. So we sit for about 20 minutes, and it is helpful to have the body still, but if you need to adjust, you don't need to suffer unnecessarily. Then you adjust, and otherwise you just let everything be. So you cannot be a good or bad meditator. It's not possible. Meditation is the only non-activity that has no goal, has no reward, has no end. It is just a practice that hopefully eventually merges into every moment of our life, that we are just allowing whatever is. That's the end of war. Enjoy. I want to dedicate the light of the candle before we start the meditation to remembering. Yeah, we're going to stop it. To remembering who we are. Just feel when you're gently coming back from the infinity, from the vastness. Just bring with you that spaciousness, that mystery, and as we come back in the body, there can be this connection to the inner sky, to the inner openness. It can continue. Like a diver that has gone very deep, and then we go to the surface a little bit, and later we move even deeper. The wake-up calls often come to the right moment. No? Now, for the friends who are watching online, and for all of us here, if there's anything you would like to share or ask or comment, you're very, very welcome. And our friend Steve is here, and he will watch the comments of this Facebook Live, and if there's any question that comes up for you, please write it in the comments, and then Steve will give me a little sign that there is a question or something that you would like to share. Excuse me. Yeah, you want to come here?
Oh, no, it's just
No, come here, then
okay.
then the friends around the world can see you also.
Oh, okay. It was just a little question about. I understand the concept of. I could relate to the concept of when you said consciousness, but the first time you used the term space, and that I couldn't understand. I couldn't connect the two ideas together. So, by space, did you mean? I think we were saying before.
Actually, my construction didn't hold. Okay, sorry for a little.
Yes.
Oh!
Still deep in meditation.
You're okay?
I'm okay.
Oh, good.
I just rolled.
You just rolled. Life is dangerous, no? Anything can happen, even in the deepest meditation. The walls crumble. Literally.
Start over, Bill.
Yeah, so that's where my concepts were getting confused.
I'm glad your
Definitely.
concepts get confused because who we are is not a concept. It's the only reality.
Sorry?
Take a breath. Who we are is not a concept. Are you guys a concept? You're all here, right? You all are. We all are. Do we need a concept for it? We are trying to define what we are, and we cannot. So we try words. So space doesn't work for you. Great. Hopefully none of these words work for you, because they're just pointed towards that which can never, the Chinese say it so beautifully, the Tao that can be spoken is never the Tao. And our philosophical mind says, oh yeah, that is very deep. Well, it's true.
Okay, so I could
Go for it.
relate. It's again, I'm objectifying. I realise it's, but the idea of consciousness, or us being a consciousness, that I could relate to, rather than something separate from the body.
Well, is it separate from the body, or does it permeate the body?
Well, there's some connection. There's some relationship.
That's right. There's some connection. No?
Yeah.
No? And it's quite a mystery that if we actually recognize, my God, I'm not the body because I'm aware of the body. So what is this that I am?
Consciousness. That's the term.
Great. That works for you.
Like.
Now, don't park there. It is consciousness is also only a label on the mystery, right? On that which can never be labeled. But since we are human, we are trying to give it a label, a name, objectifying it. And that's a human...
it's a cultural trait or a habit or something.
Exactly.
We do, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it, but we can easily get stuck there. Difficulty with religion, Religion tries to conceptualize the mystery. And then there are many different religions. Strange. There's only one space. There's only one sky. Why do we need, I don't know how many religions, to project the one sky on some kind of form or on some kind of concept? It's human. No? But when we investigate, and this is the beauty of inquiry, when you really inquire, well, who or what am I? Who are you? Are you your name? No. Are you your body?
No. There's a relationship there.
Yes.
But
Are you your feelings?
No, they come and go.
That's right. Are you your thoughts?
No, they also come and go.
Yes. Are you anything that you can watch?
No, you can't see it or touch it.
That's right. And it doesn't need concepts for it. It's so obvious, isn't it? Oh.
Take it again.
Yeah, and it's almost like suddenly the door opens and all we can do is.
Now I feel the connection.
That's right. Yeah, and suddenly we're all.
You're me, I'm you. We're all part of the same thing.
Exactly. I love that.
Things changed for me today. Yeah.
Things changed. Your whole life changed. If you take this, it's in a way a tiny little shift of perception, and yet everything shifts. Yeah. Oh my God! Everything stays exactly the same, and yet everything is completely different. Yeah. All we can do is laugh.
It tickles me. It's so, like you say, it's so trivial and massive at the same time. It's so funny. Yeah. It's like looking for something and it's always there.
I know, it's amazing.
It's crazy.
It's amazing. And what kind of somersaults we make, no?
A lot of somersaults.
And how many times We try to kind of find some kind of definition, and when we are completely confused, then we go to the psychologist. Maybe the psychologist knows, who I am, and then we get a new label. Or you go to the doctor. Beware of doctors.
You're a doctor, weren't you?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we get trained to label the mystery, and it's funny. Then you're not a person anymore. You're an appendix, or you're a broken bone, or you're a gallbladder. You're not even a person anymore. And then it's incredible, no? The doctors give us, okay, we are confused, maybe our body is a little bit in imbalance, and then we get a diagnosis. And then we carry that backpack of diagnosis. Oh, I have multiple sclerosis. It sounds fantastic, no? Nobody knows what it is, but at least now, and then I can go around, look at me, I'm really, my joints ache and everything is hurtful because I have multiple sclerosis.
But the body has it, doesn't it? The body may have multiple sclerosis.
Well,
rather than me, or not.
The body doesn't have a label. The body has certain symptoms that show that something is out of balance. That's all.
Like if I have a cut, my body has a cut.
If you have a cut, you have a cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you don't do anything with the cut, it heals, doesn't it?
Yes.
We all know this with the finger. No? Now, who heals? It must be the infinite that heals, because the little me cannot heal. No? So, in a better time, when doctors are a little bit more intelligent, all they do is create an environment, a space in which everything can fall back into nature. No? Now, if we look at nature, why is nature so beautiful? Why do we feel so attracted? We don't try to change it.
It's another synonym.
And so, which means the healing, the return to balance happens in nature and in us. When the struggle, when the division, when the war ends. Now, I learned medicine and I was a doctor for many years, and it's war. Somebody is sick and you give an antibiotic. No? Antibiotic. It needs to be against the biotic. It's basically needs to kill a bacteria, and then it. Now, thanks God, we have antibiotics, but there is a much deeper place of healing that doesn't need war. No? If we understand this. This is why these spontaneous, I'm sure you heard of Joe Dispenza, who has this amazing results, or we cannot call it results, but he has these amazing spontaneous healings in masses of people when he does his courses. Why? Because he has a very simple way of understanding that everything is flowing, and all we need is to allow the flow to find its balance again. Then everything changes. But for that capacity to flow, we need to dare to release our false identity. Can you follow me then? Yeah, it's like we love to identify with anything, and especially with illnesses. My God! And then On the surface, we want to get rid of the illness, and in reality, no, I'm not going to heal because otherwise I don't know anymore who I am. It's a bit exaggerated, but maybe you know what I'm saying. So one of the simple questions for anything that we are struggling with, which I ask myself very often, is like, can I be the space for this experience right now? And it doesn't matter what it is. Maybe I'm totally pissed off and angry. Can I be the space for it? Now the question guides me to, I'm already the space for it. It already happens in me. And then it gets more weird, if you like. You want to try something?
Okay.
Oh, he's getting ready. Okay, very simple. Can you touch that mattress here? Where's the touch happening? In the mattress or in you?
Both. What's happening out there? Well, it's not. I don't exist sort of in that way. I experience that.
I experience this. So to keep it really simple, you're touching the mattress so that you're aware of a sensation of touch, right?
Yes.
Where is that happening, in the mattress or in you?
Well, over there. But I experience it.
Yeah, so it happens in you. You experience it. No? Okay, can you see all these beautiful people here?
Yes.
Where is the seeing happening, in the people or in you?
In me.
That's right. Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Where is the hearing happening, in me or in you?
Yeah, it's happening in me. Yeah.
Take a breath, guys. This is very intense. If you eat food, where's the happening?
It doesn't exist otherwise, other than
That's
I
right.
experience it.
That's right.
If
So
I don't experience it, it
if
doesn't
you
exist.
eat a wonderful meal, where's the tasting happening, in the meal or in you?
Yes, it's an experience I have.
That's right. Now, do you notice that everything that ever happened happens in you?
Yes.
He just says yes. Well, I think it's so big. I would say, oh, really? Yeah, wow.
It happened through that same fine continuous line from birth onwards. That was all a series of, it's all a series of experiences.
That's right. In whom?
In whatever I am.
Whatever I am. That's right.
Trying to find out what I am. It's somewhere around here, maybe.
No. It's quite intense, because that means I am the world. There's nothing out there. Take a breath. This blows the mind. No?
But there's 7 billion people around.
That's
so
right.
There's 7 billion experiences happening in parallel.
In whom?
In all the people. Well, I mean, somewhere. What, me?
Don't ask me. Investigate. It's, for me, it's the same puzzle as for you. It's unbelievable, but it's true. But it's very liberating.
No, I'm confused now. I'm experiencing those 7 billion people, potentially.
And where's the experience happening?
Well, in me. You seem to exist as well. Well, I mean, in me.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm existing through you as well.
That's right.
Holy crap.
Holy crap. Yes. You appear in me and I appear in you. Is there any other?
Holy crap.
Yeah. Holy cow dung, you know?
have.
Yeah.
We're the same existence.
Give me. We are the same existence, just in a different form.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And we're just sitting here and the deepest truth is revealed and we enjoy. Because why do we enjoy? Because it's so unbelievable. Because it has nothing to do with beliefs. It's just an absolute direct recognition of reality.
I've never seen that before.
No, that's the joy.
I look in your eyes, I can see me almost.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Yes. It's wonderful.
Oh, crazy.
I'm curious, what's the meaning of your name?
Baljit
Baljit.
means Jeet means sort of happy things, good news, whatever. Bal
Here we go.
means to say. It's like bring good news.
Oh, it's happening! You're bringing, you're bringing fantastic news.
Yeah.
Baljit, good news, very good news. Don't try to figure it out. It's. We don't need to demystify it, but we can enjoy the mystery, can't we? You know, it's like, wow. I looked at the world in one way, and suddenly I see it differently. And that, if you want, it can change your life completely. Everything can be totally new.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like going through a door today. It's like going through a door.
Yeah.
I'm not going back through that door. It's like, I can't unknow.
Yeah. Well, you see, you had an incredible opening, but the moment our mind grabs it, there's nothing in the hands. So the only recommendation is just remember this. Remember the door.
Yeah.
No? And not remember the door as a concept, but remember that before we didn't, this is for all of us, before we didn't have a choice, we were always focused on the object, on the outer object. We only brought and the thing is, wherever our attention goes, this is where our energy flows. So if your attention is on your misery and in your suffering, you will be miserable and suffer, because that gets energy. No? Now, Baljit, if your attention suddenly moves into that which is aware, into that which is of space, into that which is of love, whatever you prefer as a word, which always points to the formless, then that reveals incredible mysteries. And it's not just limited to Jesus and Buddha and Lao Tzu. Here's another one, Shiva.
Shiva, okay. Yeah. I'm not a Hindu, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's very liberating, though.
It is. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful inquiry, says Glenda Barber.
Yeah, I think this is the recommendation here. No? The inquiry is so helpful, and the inquiry that doesn't have a goal for an answer, because you won't get. Ultimately, there is no answer, and yet there is the inquiry. It's more a negative process. It's like, oh my God, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, but still I am. What is that? Who am I? And that seeps deeper and deeper and deeper into it seeps into our limited humanness. And then we become more loving. I always wondered, who came up with the idea that we have to be good people? Our parents, of course, for us, or the teachers or so. But it must have been coming from much deeper place of a recognition that deep inside, the only truth is we are spacious consciousness and love. And when that expresses itself through the body, then we are good people. That's why I recommend awakening rather than good behavior. Because if I should be good, I have to hide my badness. If I should be intelligent, I have to hide my stupidity. If I should be successful, I have to hide my failure. It's the moment I should be something right or good, I have to hide the shadow. And when we come to that place where Baljit touched, it's neither good or bad. It's neither right or wrong. It's neither high and low. It's the discovery, oh my God. In India they call it Satchidananda. The truth is consciousness and bliss. And when you are blissful, how can you hurt somebody? I think in one of the last satsangs I shared with you about a beautiful friend, Navanita, who is a dancer. And at the time she was in this 8-hour operation because she has cancer. And just yesterday evening I was talking with a close friend in northern Germany where Navanita lives, and I asked if she's still around, whether she has died or not. And in spite of any expectations or worries of the people and the doctors, she came out of the operation. She's a bit weak, but she has never been so shiny. It's quite a phenomenon. Some of you know her. She came with her boyfriend or husband here every year and did these amazing dance classes. And the first time she had this recognition of who she is was when she had a terrible accident going with one of the buses from Goa to Pune. And the whole bus, and so many people got killed, and the bus crashed, I think, frontal into a truck. I don't know exactly the details, but she had so many broken bones, and her passion is dance. She managed to kind of get all the bones fixed and did, I think, 30 more years of dance classes and traveling the world. And now, the body is quite weakened, of course, through ongoing cancer, and now she has to have radiation. But her spirit, it was very beautiful, like how my friend shared her presence. I could feel it. Yeah, of course, you're not the body. I mean, the body eventually has a use-by date, all our bodies. No? But that which is real, that which brings the laughter to Beljit, that which brings the light into our eyes, that can be till the last moment. And then when we close our eyes, we're still here. I don't know that. I can tell you only when I'm gone, but I have a strong sense that which is aware. Where can it go? That's what Ramana said so beautifully. Ramana was one of the amazing sages. He died in 1950, and he had throat cancer. He couldn't eat anymore, and he couldn't say anymore. And his disciples said, so what can we do for you? And where will you go? And he said, well, you cannot. What you can do for me is you be my throat. You eat. You are me. And when I'm gone, where can I go? I will always be here. Osho said the same thing. I didn't get that at the time, what he meant. But I have more and more a sense of there's nowhere to go, because this I is always here. But it's not personal anymore, and that is so freaky for our little self. No? This is why we try to assert the me until we shift the attention. Okay, who is aware? Who is talking? Who is this? What I refer to every day when I say I. The Japanese have quite, like cultural wisdom around that in their language. Chinese also a little bit. They never say, I eat. They say eating. They don't say, I feel. They say feeling. And then you never know if they mean you feel or I feel, because both is feel. There's no I and no you in the language. It's quite amazing.
Old English is the same.
Old English is the same?
Thou, and there's no you or I.
Thou. No? I think there's a wisdom in that. So we can use different ways of remembering. One of the Lakshmi, Osho's early secretary, she was an amazing woman. She always talked about herself in the third position. So like I would say, Rahasya is speaking to you right now. Rahasya is hungry. Rahasya is tired and wants to go to bed. Not me. So come on here, people around the world, ask me some questions, otherwise we're going to meditate. It's also okay. Let's sit for a few more minutes. Just deepening the gap that anyway begins to happen. Fall between the words, behind the thoughts, behind the emotions, behind the experiences. Just fall, just die. There's one beautiful book from Osho called Die, O Yogi, Die. And of course what dies is only what comes and goes. And what doesn't die. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, before we let you go, there's a few announcements. Since I'm here and could not go to Europe, I thought we'd do a little bit of a program here, and so I put up a silent retreat, 3 days, 24th to 26th of July. We're going to have a limited number here. We meditate, we have satsang, and we are basically in silence most of the time. And it's very beautiful. We had 2 retreats before here, and it's kind of, we can go very, very deep. And there's a flyer on the table. You can take a flyer for some information. And next Tuesday, I think some of you were here last time where we did the blessing of the chakras meditation. So next Tuesday in Temple Byron, I will have a meditation evening at 6:30, and you're very welcome if you want to come to Temple Byron. Then I'm planning in August, it's been a long time since I did the I called it Counseling from the Heart training, Transforming Lives, I call it, because it's not just for counselors, it's really for everyone. It's a whole training that helps you to bridge the functioning of the mind to no mind, and how to help people actually to come to a healing situation, not through psychology, or not so much through psychology. There are some principles, and it's beautiful, where you learn or you deepen your art of being with people. And then every Tuesday, beautiful Angela is having a women's group here, and she has a real gift to help women to move into their feminine beauty and strengths. She didn't allow me to participate, but I see the women coming out, and they're all very, very happy. So if you're interested in that, please talk to Angela. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I just had a thought.
You had a thought.
I had a thought.
In whom is the thought happening?
It's happening in me.
Good.
I just had a thought that the women's group, there are women coming that are 18, and there's some way above 60, so I don't feel like it's for any age or stage. It's a really great cross-transmission of gifts and a lot of mystery.
Very good.
And no, you can't come.
But I can get reports.
Yeah. Tuesday.
Tuesday.
9 to 1.
Tuesday is 9 to 1.
It's great fun.
No?
Repeat it. 9 to 1.
Yeah.
It's an experience. Yeah.
Well, with her the time goes very fast,
Goes
you
very
will see.
quickly. Yeah. It's we spend quite a bit of time actually getting out of our story and who we are, who we think we are. So it's dancing, quite a bit of movement and dancing, and then we break for a cup of tea and cake. This is a very important part of a women's group.
What cake is it?
We are not invited.
That's what I want to know. It makes a difference.
Yeah, some are pregnant, some are young, some are much older, and then we actually have the connection. It takes a while for us to sort of drop out of our story a little bit. So it's a lot of fun. Love to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. So if you, anyway, next Friday, Satsang. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for being here. It's so precious. I benefit most of it, and the place here benefits so much from your presence. It's the trees sing, the nature sings. It creates an incredible field, so thank you for being here. If you need a cup of tea, there's hot water outside, and there's on the barbecue there are cups and tea, and you can have a cup of tea if you want, and have a beautiful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.